What do you reckon? Is this us then? Okay, we will make a start then. So I'll get some lights on. Can you see me? Okay then, so good morning. Let's get on with it then. So we're standing with our feet about the same distance as our hips or our shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. We're imagining we have a long ponytail on the top of the head that's tied up to the ceiling or up to the heavens. Pelvic area is tilted forwards, feels like it's hanging down from that suspension from above. Relax the hips, the knees and the ankles. We're going to go into some standing, but before we go into that, we'll just do a little bit of waist turning, just to limber up the waist, get the blood flowing, and then we'll go into our standing. Keeping nice and upright, just turning the waist, the arms just moving away from the body because of that centripetal force coming out from the center. So the faster we turn the waist, the higher the arms will go. Turning. Make sure you're not just tensing the muscles against the hips to get this movement. You are engaging all the muscles around here, but you're not just tensing them. You're moving from that area that's about 3 finger widths below the belly button and in the center of the body. Visualize a ball there, about the same size as your fist, and you're just turning that from side to side, and it's that what's setting your waist, your body into motion. So the faster you turn that ball, the higher your arms will go. Turning, turning, turning. Really feel, as I said, you're not tensing from here, but feel the inguinal crease area, what the Chinese call the qua. Feel this opening and closing, like the pages of a book, opening and closing. Turning, turning, turning. I'll turn around for this one, and then let the heel follow the movement of the rest of the body. But again, you're not just tensing those muscles around the hips to bring the hips in. You're using the connective tissue, that stuff that surrounds all the muscles, and as the name suggests, it connects the whole body. Using that whole body connectedness to pull the knee in, to push the heel out. This is an empty stance, dropping all the way to the body onto that supporting leg. When the leg is at its fullest, you have more weight towards the rear of the foot. Soften the instep, sinking down. And when the leg's at its fullest, you have a straight line down from the earlobe down through the center of the foot, spiraling down, keeping nice and upright, feeling the weight of the body compressing itself against the ground. So you have to let the muscles tense as much as they need to give stability to the body. And with this just enough, you should be able to you'll feel the elasticity of the connective tissue, but you also feel the muscles being compressed against the ground like springs. Then you feel them wanting to stretch back to that uncompressed state and use that energy, that spring, what the Chinese call the jing, to move you from leg to leg. So just let that energy release, steer that release of energy using that ball in your belly. Okay, make the hands into hollow fists. Start to bring the hands up in front of you. Hands into hollow fist, hands coming up in front of you. Like a horse rearing up onto its hind legs, its front legs and hoofs in the air, its mane fluttering in the wind. Standing tall, confident. That heel is still following, it's still going up, following the movement of the rest of the body. And then open your hands and bring one hand over the shoulder, the other hand onto the lower back. Cupping, a cupping massage stroke on the shoulder. You're hitting the back of the hand onto the lower back, releasing any tension you might be holding onto in the shoulders or any tension you might be holding onto in the lower back. Just hit yourself as hard as is comfortable for you. Really feel that the strength of the earth, or the spring from the body and the strength of the earth coming up through the body, and using that to move your arms and your hands. Then just let this settle down. Let it settle down. So you're standing now with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. In fact, no, let's start in our Wu Chi posture, and we'll go out into the shoulder width stance. So you're standing with your heels together. If the feet were on the face of a clock, your left foot would be pointing somewhere between 10 and 11, right foot somewhere between 1 and 2. Lift your toes off the floor, so you drop all the weight back into the heels. And then, keeping that feeling, lower the toes back down. Sitting down, relax the hips, the knees and the ankles. Make sure you're not locking out any of these joints. Sitting down, as if sitting down onto a high stool. Arms at the sides of the body. Middle fingers touching the thighs here on this iliotibial tract, the IT band on the sides of the body. But keep that small gap underneath each armpit. At least let the air get to your armpits. Head as if suspended from above. Pelvic area is tilted forwards. Feels like it's hanging down from that suspension from above. So head up. Then if you can keep your balance and you feel comfortable, I want you to close your beautiful eyes. Closing your beautiful eyes. If you don't feel comfortable or balanced with your eyes closed, you can do the visualization as if you're looking into the distance, way, way, way beyond where you are. As if you're looking through a light mist or fog, and as if you're watching birds flying near distant clouds against the backdrop of a beautiful turquoisey blue summer sky. But closing your eyes if you can. We know when we stand and balance with our eyes closed, we really have to feel the balance of the body. This is our proprioception. I'm sure you've heard me say it before. Proprioception, I think, should be considered a sense like the other 5 recognized senses. That feeling of the balance of the body, knowing where your arms, your legs, your limbs are in relation to the rest of the body and within the space you are in. So it's a good skill to practice if you can. Head as if suspended from above. Then I want you to relax all of your face muscles. Relax the muscles behind and around your eyes. You're breathing in through your nose, if you can, of course. Touching the tip of the tongue to the top of the mouth, just behind your front teeth. Your teeth are together, but they're not clenched. The same with your lips. Tucking your chin in, not up or down, in. Keeping your jaw parallel to the floor. Have the feeling here as if somebody's pulling on your ears to pull your neck back against the collar of a shirt. And with the jaw parallel to the floor and that pulling back, you feel the cervical region of the spine, those 7 bones of the neck, you feel them lengthening. You feel the skull lifting up off the spine. Really opening up that gate at the base of the spine, or the base of the skull, the top of the spine, the nirwan, the jade pillow gate. But you're not stretching your neck is nice and relaxed. Really feel the head, the skull floating on the neck, the spine. Take a breath in through your nose to your lower abdomen. And as you exhale, feel your shoulders releasing, relaxing with the out-breath. Really feel the weight of your arms weighing your shoulders down. Keep that small gap underneath each armpit. Let the air get to your armpits. Feel the weight of the arms just weighing the shoulders down and ever so slightly forwards. And keep the middle fingers touching onto the thighs very lightly. You have a hollow underneath each collarbone called the shoulder's nest. Take a breath in through your nose to your lower abdomen, and as you exhale, feel those nests relaxing, releasing. Feel the chest muscles relax, release. The ribs relax and release, and all sinking down into your belly. Let the belly hang out. Just let the belly hang out. Feel the shoulder blades on your upper back spreading out to the sides and ever so slightly down, really rounding your upper back like the shell of a turtle, a sea turtle. Really feel that space in between your shoulder blades, relaxing, releasing, opening up, expanding. Sink your ribs to fill your lower back. Really feel that space between the bottom of the ribs and the hips opening up and lengthening. Tilting your pelvic area ever so slightly forwards, or tucking your sacrum under. So the coccyx, the tailbone, the bottom bone of the spine pushes and points down towards the floor. That takes the hollow, the curve, the lordosis out of the lower back, and with the head as if suspended from above, gives you the nice lengthening of your spine. Really feel the spine lifting up inside the body, the skull being pulled back by the ears and lifting up off your spine. At the same time, feel the face muscles sinking down, the shoulders nest, the chest, the ribs all sinking down, and push the bottom bone of your spine towards the floor, forwards and ever so slightly up. And do all this with your mind, your intent. You're not tensing muscles to get this lengthening and alignment of your spine. You're thinking this lengthening, this alignment of your spine, a neutral spine. So you're tilting your pelvic area ever so slightly forward. But you're not holding any tension in your pelvic area. Your pelvic area feels like it's hanging down like a plumb bob or a pendulum. So there's no tension in the hips, the buttocks, the pelvic floor, the perineum, the thighs. Soften your knees. Do a real mental loosening of your knees. Relax the shins, the calves. Loosen your ankles. Relax your feet. Feet flat on the floor. Again, more weight towards the rear of the feet. You could divide the feet into a 70-30 weight distribution. 70% of the weight towards the rear of the feet, 30 towards the front of the feet. A 50-50 divided the weight between both legs, softening the insteps, the bone tissue above the arch of the feet, or the arches of the feet. I imagine these are as soft as cotton wool. without changing your posture or using any more muscle. Breathing in, feel the whole of your skeleton lifting up inside the body. All the spaces in between the bones opening up, maintaining that feeling as you breathe out. Feel the rest of the body just relaxing down around the upright skeleton. Breathing in, feel that lifting inside the body, all the spaces in between the bones opening up, filling with that fluid that lubricates the joints. Mentally maintain that opening, but as you breathe out, from the top of your head, all the way down to the bottom of your feet, just feel the whole body relaxing down. Feel any tension, any stress, any emotional upset in your body just draining down through the body. And imagine, visualize it going out through the bottom of the feet into the ground. Or you can imagine you bury it deep in the ground, just let it go. You don't need or want that tension, so just let it go. And when you're ready, I want you to open your eyes, reconnect to the room and the surroundings. Step out into a shoulder width stance and just move your body. Move your body. Okay? Okay, so standing with the feet about the same distance as the hips and the shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. From here, I want you to step forwards with the right foot. Touch the right toes down in front of the left toes. Step back, step forwards to the left foot, touch the left toes down in front of the right toes. Step back, step forwards, throw the right hand over your left shoulder. Throw the left hand over your right shoulder. Throw the left hand over the right ribs. Throw the right hand over the left ribs. And we're just stepping from leg to leg. Just touching the toes down in front of us for balance. You're not committing any weight to that front leg, just touching the toes down for balance. You can slide the foot across the floor as long as it doesn't stick to the floor. That supporting leg, you have more weight towards the rear of the foot. That's 70-30 weight distribution. Softening the insteps. Tapping the body. Tapping the body again. Just, again, doing that cupping massage stroke to release any tension you might still be holding onto in the shoulders. The other hand coming underneath the opposite arm. Conditioning the ribs. We know when we stress the body out, or when we stress the body a little bit like we're doing now by hitting it, when we do it regularly, the body adapts, it adjusts, it strengthens accordingly to withstand that stress. So you're kind of like tempering your body. You know, the ribs protect the internal organs, the ribs aren't that strong. But when you do this regularly, they will strengthen. Practicing quite a few Tai Chi moves here. You have like lift hands, ward off, which we're going to work on today, or Pong. You have a move called Strum the Lute, So He Pipa. You have a toe kick here, a trip. You could put a knee into there. It wouldn't be too much of a stretch to put elbows into there. You have a very nice loosening up exercise as well. Very nice loosening up exercise. Okay. So let's work on our whole body connectedness. So you're standing now with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulder, feet parallel to each other. Hands onto the waist or onto the hips, super person pose. Still have more weight towards the rear of the feet. Sitting down, make sure you're not sticking your bum out so pelvic area is tilted forwards, but hanging down from our suspension from above. And I want you to push down with your right heel. Push up through the body and push your head over to your left side, as if you're trying to push the ear to touch the shoulder there. Make sure the shoulder stays nice and relaxed. You feel a lengthening all up the right side of the body. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving in. A lengthening of the connective tissue. So when you relax, it just contracts back. Then push down with the left heel, roll towards the toes, push up through the body, and push your head over to your right side, as if trying to push the right ear to touch the left shoulder. Again, make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving, and you feel a lengthening all up the left side of the body. From the little toes all the way up into the neck, like the stretching of a spring or an elastic band. So when you relax, it just contracts back, and you're just pushing and pulling from side to side. Pushing and pulling from side to side. Whole body connectedness. You're only really moving your neck and your head, but you feel the strength of the earth behind this movement. The strength of the world and the whole body behind this movement. And then just feel those bands of connective tissue on the sides of the body, those lateral lines, bringing you to this upright position. Then again, push down with your right foot, push up through the body, and this time push your head to look to your left side. And again, feel a lengthening all the way through the body. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving in. The body moves up ever so slightly, lengthening the connective tissue in the spiral line. So when you relax, it just contracts back to looking straight forwards. Then push down with your left heel, push up through the body, push your head to your right side. Again, make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving in. Feel a lengthening all the way up through the body. There's spiral lines coming up from the feet up into the neck. like the stretching of springs or elastic bands. When you relax, the body just pulls back, and you're just pushing and pulling the head from side to side. So you're just moving your neck and your head, but you feel the movement supported by the whole body and the world. And you feel the body wanting to pull back to a neutral, upright, looking straight forwards position. And if you don't feel that, we're training the body to bring you to that neutral position. Then let yourself look straight forwards. Push down with both heels, push up through the body, push the head up and back. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the chest isn't sticking out, the lower back isn't curving in. Feel a lengthening all the way up the front of the body, from the toes all the way up into the neck. So when you relax, it contracts back. Then keep more weight towards the heels, but grip the floor of the toes and pull your chin towards your chest. Feel a lengthening up the back of the body, from the toes along the soles of the feet to the top of the head, the forehead and to the nose. So when you relax, it contracts back, and you're just pushing and pulling the head up and back, and forwards and down. Keeping more weight towards the heels when you grip the floor with the toes to pull the head forwards. So again, you feel the movement. You're only moving the neck and the head. You feel the movement supported by the whole body. Supported by the whole body and the world. Then looking straight forwards. Head as if suspended from above. So you're going to work the occipitus here, what we call the Neil Wan, the jade pillow gate. That's the Mandarin, I think in Cantonese it's the Das Huai. Okay, so you're going to make like a figure, you're going to do like an infinity sign with this area here, like a number 8 on its side. You're just going to trace it with your nose and your eyes. So you're really working the occipitus, that jade pillow gate. One way and the other way. You might find one way is easier than the other. That's quite normal. Then looking straight forwards. Head as if suspended from above. Arms out in front of you. Wiggle the fingers. Wiggling the fingers. Like you're playing a piano. Playing the old Joanna. Then make fists. Turn the hands over. Open one hand, close and open the other one. One opens, one closes. And see if you can feel a cross connection between your hands and your feet. No, the whole the body is connected through that connective tissue. We have connections from the hands all the way to the feet. Feel that cross connection. And side to side. Up and down, all the way around, one way and the other way. Forearms, rotating the forearms. One palm up, one down. Elbows, touching the shoulders. And one out, one in. And see if you can feel a cross connection here between your knees. Feel a connection between your left knee, your right elbow, your right knee, your left elbow. Did I say that? Feel that cross connection. And then round. So just moving from the elbows. You have that fulcrum at the elbow. Rotating one way and the other way. In the same movement, but one out, one in. Wax on, wax off, kind of. One way and the other way. Put those two movements together. So this arm does this. This arm does this. Oh no, this arm does that. So this one does that. This one does this. And then one out, one in. Remember, with these movements, the trick is not to think about it too much. One way and the other way. Okay, shoulders. Up and down. Up and down. Oh, my shoulders are crunching this morning. Up and down. And down. Arms out in front of you. Shoulders forwards and back. Forwards and back. Arms out at the side. So really relaxing that point in between the shoulder blades. Reaching one arm over to the side, feel it pulling the other arm, and just reaching from side to side. So you have to really relax in between the shoulder blades. One arm pulling the other arm. Which if the muscles are excessively tense in the back, you won't feel this. You have to relax so you can pull that whole body connectedness, or arms connectedness. And send the shoulders around. Send them around. Feel the strength of the earth behind the movement. So feel yourself pumping the soles of the feet to push up. To the shoulders back and up, forwards and down. Go one way and then go the other way. And alternate. Feel the cross connections here between your hips and your shoulders through those, what they call functional lines, crisscrossing the front and the back of the body. One way and the other way. You're getting a nice massage of the lungs here as well. Both shoulders down, turn the waist, so one goes forwards, one goes back, both shoulders up, turn the waist, one forwards, one back, both shoulders up at the same time, both shoulders down at the same time. I get the feeling like it's like a hydraulic cylinder here, compressing, pumping, lengthening, contracting. One way and the other way. Okay, let's do the rib cage, or the thoracic region of the spine in the rib cage. So just touch the hands onto these shoulders nests here, and we're just going to go from here, we're going to go from side to side. So it's not hips, it's here, side to side. It's really moving the thoracic region of the spine, upper middle back, then chest out and back. So working the rib cage and that upper spine, upper middle spine. And then take it all the way around. One way and the other way. And just let it settle down. Hands onto the hips or onto the waist. Forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Be careful if you do have any problems with the lower back in this one. Getting smaller, smaller, and smaller. Then just send this area around. Like you're spinning a hula hoop around your waist. Send it around. Really working the sacroiliac joint, or sacroiliac joint, which we know we should have movement here. We shouldn't have too much movement, we shouldn't have too much little movement here. One way and the other way. Just let it settle down on its own. Hanging down. Bring the feet together. Feet together, hands onto the knees. Give the knees a really good rub. Little fingers rubbing down the outside of the knees, thumbs down the inside of the knees. Rubbing warm, loving, positive energy into yourself, into your knees. Warm, loving, positive energy. Love your knees. Love yourselves. Then push the knees back. Then going down into a squat. Keep more weight towards the heels. Keep the knees in line with the toes. Down to a squat and then up into the toes. Squatting down. Keep the knees together. Make sure the chest isn't sticking out, the ribs aren't flaring out, you're not curving in the lower back. And coming back up. Again, sink the ribs, fill the back. You're making like a right angle with your body, so the upper body is parallel to the floor. More weight towards the heels, so really stretching up the back of the body. Then going down to a squat. Again, more weight towards the heels. And then roll towards the toes. Keep the knees in line with the toes. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving in. And up again. And then down. You can keep the feet flat on the floor if you do have problems with the knees here. Coming up. Interlace the fingers. Loosen up the wrists. Step forwards, loosen up the wrists. Loosen up your ankle. Step back, wrist and ankle. Sit back, do the other foot. Wrist and ankle. Step back. And shake out. Take my slippers off. Okay, so last week we worked on left ward off, which I'm sure you've been practicing diligently all week. Before that, we worked on stepping out into shoulder width and to raise hands. So today we're going to try and go. Yeah, we should have time. We're going to go through the grasp the sparrow's tail sequence, and the next week we'll go into single whip down BM. Okay, so we will go from. We will recap on what we did last week and the week before, and then we'll really work on the grasp of the sparrow's tail sequence, and we will put them all together. So we're starting with our feet together, our heels together. Again, if the feet were on the face of a clock, left foot will be pointing somewhere between 10 and 11, right foot somewhere between 1 and 2. Sitting down, more weight towards the rear of the feet. Again, lift the toes off the floor. Then lower them down. Middle fingers touching the thighs, the iliotibial tract, small gap underneath each armpit. Everything we worked on at the very start of the session. We have 6 leg movements here, 6 arm movements. So we sink onto the right leg. The left heel lifts off the floor. This is an empty stance. Dropping down. You feel as the body becomes weight bearing. You feel the bones rotating, as they should. You feel the muscles tensing as much as they need to. Feeling that compression. And you can turn the hands so the palms are facing behind you. So for the first leg movement, the first arm movement then. Turning to the left. Then just release the left toes. And that compression from the body, you release that and you use that to push the foot out to the side, to your shoulder width. Turn the waist, turn the waist to the right to turn the left toes in. Release that compression from the right side of the body, use that to move you over to the left side. Turn the waist to the left to pull the right toes in. Release the compression from the left side of the body to get you into the center. And you should have your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulder part, feet parallel to each other. Keep facing forwards. We have the first arm movement when we turn the hands to face behind us. So the second one is raise hands. You can either go up with the body or down with the body here. And point the fingers up, push up with the whole body. Pull the hands in towards you. And pushing down, like you're pushing balloons down into water. And then let the fingers settle. If you want to go one way in Tai Chi, first you go the other way. We're going to turn to the right. So first we sink to the left. Then as we turn to the right, we keep on the left leg. We turn the right toes out to the side and bring the hands up as if holding a big ball. Right palm faces down towards the left palm. Roll heel to toe to the right toe, into the right foot. Make sure the knee stays in line with the toes. Turning. You have that straight line down from the right earlobe all the way down through the very center of your right foot. Turning to the left, then release and just let the left foot step forwards. Again, make sure the foot doesn't swing forwards and in. The width of the stance in Chen style Tai Chi is more important than the length, and it's a comfortable step, not a lunge. Turning your waist to your left. Use the waist turning to push out of the right leg, releasing that compression, pushing your left arm up. Right hand comes down. Get the majority of the weight in the front left leg. Then turn the waist to your left. Use that waist turning to pull the right toes in and settle down. With about 70% of the weight going down through the front left leg, 30 through the rear right leg. You have a 70-30 weight distribution, but the head is neither over one leg more than the other leg. It's in the dead center like an equilateral, equal-sided triangle. Left knee in line with the left toes, no further forward than the left toes. Bending this right leg so the pelvic area can hang down. If you straighten that back leg, you tend to stick your bum out and lean forwards. We bend the back leg so the pelvic area can hang down. So you maintain your plumb. Square the hips up as much as you can without creating tension in the pelvic area. Pelvic area is tilted forwards, hanging down from that suspension from above. Your left hand is about the same height as your solar plexus. So the palm facing down towards that ball in the belly. Right hand pointed down towards the floor. Round the body as much as you can. Not hunching, but rounded. So you don't want really defined angles. Round the body as much as you can. And feel that expansive feeling. An expansive feeling. Okay. So we'll come back to that. Okay, so standing with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulder part. Feet parallel to each other. Mind your awareness into that ball in the belly. And you start to move it from side to side. So you're moving from your center, moving from side to side, sinking down. As you sink down, the knee goes forwards, the hip goes backwards. So the knee's not going too far forward. So really feel yourself sitting down. When the leg's at its fullest, more weight towards the rear of the foot. Soften the insteps. Sinking down as if standing on something floating on water. As if standing up in a rowing boat or on a floating platform or on a raft. And really do imagine that. We know the nervous system not knowing the difference between imaginary and real, so the more you can imagine something, the more the nervous system will instruct the body into the positioning to perform the task that you are imagining. So imagine you are standing up on something floating on water, so that balance, that proprioception will kick in. At the same time, you can imagine you're balancing a bowl of water on the top of the head. You don't want to spill it down your face. Breathing in and breathing out, feeling that spring, the elasticity of the connective tissue and the compression of the muscles. So that what they call the stretch reflex. You stretch, you lengthen it, it wants to contract back to its neutral place. You compress it, it wants to expand back to that neutral resting place. Breathing in and breathing out. In and out. Then lower the weight of the body down through the right leg. Breathing in, right to left leg, push up the left arm. Breathing out, lower the left arm down through the left leg. Breathing in, left leg to right leg, push up the right arm. Breathing out, lowering it down. Breathing in. And really do feel yourself pushing your arm. You're not just lifting your arms up using your shoulders, you're pushing your arms up. pushing your arms up, releasing that, feel that stretch reflex, that compression releasing. You're just using your mind, your intent to channel it, to steer it up through the body, and use that to push your arm up. You have that shock wave going up through the body. It's like the cracking of a whip. Again, you have the strength of the earth. You're borrowing the strength of the earth, controlling it at the waist, issuing it at the spine. That strength is then manifesting itself in the hands and in the fingers. Breathing in and breathing out. And really engage in what you're doing. Make sure your mind isn't wandering away. You're not thinking about, you're not planning your day. That's something I have to be mindful of. Planning what I'm going to do for the rest of the day and not concentrate on what I'm doing in the moment. I'm not saying we never plan what we're going to do, but stepping away, that ability to step away from the whirlwind that the mind can be. It's a good skill, a good ability to have. But it has to be worked on, it has to be trained. And it's one of the hardest aspects of these moving meditative practices. Staying focused in the moment. Not wandering into the future or the past with the mind. So every time you do notice your mind has wandered away, don't beat yourself up, don't get annoyed with yourself. Just tell yourself, no, I've set this time aside to practice this, physically and mentally, and bring yourself back. Bring some more waist turning into it, and we turn it into our cloudy hands, waving hands like clouds. And let's get our first power here. The powers in Tai Chi are Pung Lu Jian, Chai Lia Jiu Kao, ward off, roll back, press, push, pluck, split, elbow and shoulder. Pung Jing, ward off energy is that expansive feeling, like an inflated balloon or ball or bubble, expanding out equally in all directions. And this expansion is not tension, it's a mental thing. Feel expansive. Imagine you are like a bubble, a soapy bubble, expanding in all directions, really delicate surface area, but strong because of that spherical shape. Expanding. So even when you're moving to the left, you're still expanding equally to the right. When moving to the right, you're still expanding equally to the left, forwards, backwards, up and down. And again, the expansion is not tension, it's a feeling, the opening up of all the joints in between the bones. You could feel, another way to feel it is just to feel as if every hair on your body is standing on end. You know, every hair on the body has its own muscle. So really imagine you're making every hair on your body stand on end, like a cat does when it wants to make itself look bigger, or our closest primate cousins, chimpanzees and bonobos, they make all their hairs stand on end when they want to make themselves look bigger. So feel every hair on the body standing on end. And drop the weight of the body onto the right leg. Keep the weight onto the right leg as you turn to the left. Turn the left toes out to the side, as if holding a ball. Left hand over right hand. Roll heel to turn to the right foot, into the left foot. Sorry. Make sure the knee stays in line with the toes. Straight line down from the left earlobe down through the center of the foot. Make sure you have more weight towards the rear of the foot. That will stop the knee going too far forwards. Then turn to your right. Release the right toes, sink and step straight forwards. Again, make sure you maintain your feet shoulder apart. Don't let the foot swing forwards and in, which is a common thing that happens here if you have tension in all the abductor muscles and everything around the inside of the thighs. Comfortable step forwards, not a lunge. Leave the left hand where it is, but as you turn your waist to the right, you push out of the left leg, rolling heel to toe into the right foot, and push your right arm up. Get the majority of the weight in the right leg, then turn your waist to your left to pivot on the heel. Turn your waist to your right to pivot on the heel of the left foot. And we have right ward off here, right pung. Right palm facing towards you, left palm facing down underneath the right palm. 70% of the weight in the front right leg, 30 in the rear left leg. Head's in the dead center. Square the hips up. Pelvic area is tilted forwards, feels like it's hanging down. So again, if you want to go one way in Tai Chi, first go the other way. We're going to do roll back to the left here. So turn to the right and just turn both hands over. Then turn your waist to your left. Use that waist turn to push out to the right leg, push over to the left leg. Sacrum's tucked under, tailbone points towards the floor, goes no further back than the center of your calf muscle. Left hand sweeps back. Then turn back to your right, pushing out to the left leg. Bring the palms together, sink into the right leg, and we have press here, squeeze, G. Sink to the right, breathing in, turn to the left. And turn back, breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. As you're doing this movement, try to keep your nose in line with your belly button, your shoulders in line with your hips and shoulders parallel to each other and parallel to the floor. Breathing in, And breathing out. And it's not just arms here. You're sinking down, feeling the legs, the muscles in the legs, the connective tissue, all compressing, lengthening, contracting, expanding, and using that energy to move your body rather than just gross muscular effort. Feel a lengthening of the connective tissue, a contracting back. Using the minimal amount of muscular effort. Breathing in and breathing out. I'll give you a side view here. Keep facing forwards, I'll give you a side view. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in. Feel the resistance of the air. You know, the air does have a resistance. The air is made up of lots of different gases: oxygen, nitrogen, helium, carbon, methane. There's dust particles, pollens, mold spores, tens, if not hundreds, of other trace elements that we in this air, this atmosphere, this soup that we call our air. So really feel yourself moving through it, making waves in it, as if you're moving through something thicker than the air. Feel like you're moving through water. Making waves, breathing in and breathing out. And again, use that visualization. The nervous system not knowing the difference between imaginary and real, so the more you can imagine it, the more the nervous system will instruct the body into the positioning to perform the things that you're imagining. This is a kind of neuroscience. Breathing in. Make sure you're not just tensing the hip flexor muscles against the hips to get this movement. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, you're engaging all the muscles around here, all your core, but you're letting the muscles tense as much as they need to. Them all work together, moving from that ball in your belly at the very center of all your core muscles, the center of your deep frontal line. Breathing in and breathing out. So we have pung, that expansive feeling, like every hair on the body is standing on end. This is lu, roll back, like a rolling ball, or a well-oiled door that can swing freely in all directions. Pung, lu. Then we have ji here, squeeze, press. Like you're trying to pop a giant human-sized bubble or ball or balloon against the wall. So you're not hitting it hard or you bounce off it, you're squeezing, pressing in, sinking down and popping it. Like popping a giant pimple. Breathing in, breathing out. And we're traveling backwards here, we're moving backwards, still expanding forwards. We're moving forwards, still expanding backwards, left, right, up and down. Oh, I nearly went to the next move then. Pong, lu, ji. And then here, this is an. We split. Open up the hands. Hands come out to about shoulder width apart, coming down. Elbows no further back than the body, like pushing a ball or balloon down into water. And then pushing forwards. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And the hands not really going much further forward, if any, than the front toes. Pushing a ball down to water, not leaning backwards here, not going too far back, tailbone no further back than the center of the calf muscle, pushing forwards. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. Moving from that ball in the belly. Being mindful of what you're doing. There's lots of things to focus on here. So the mind shouldn't be wandering away from what we're doing here. If you haven't noticed your mind wanders away, as it does as you get more familiar with what you're doing, it gives an opportunity for that little part of the mind, the little I, to wander into thinking. Once you notice your mind has wandered away, just bring it back. I'm not thinking that now. I've set this time aside to do this. So really do this. You've set this time aside to really truly be here. Which is, I'll say again, one of the hardest aspects of this meditative moving, or all meditative practices. Staying focused in the moment with what you're doing. So that little part of the mind, the little I, Freud called the id, a little part of the mind, it shouts very, very loud. It will let you believe that that is the true self. That little tiny part of your consciousness is your true self because it shouts so loud. If you're not careful, it will become the dominant part of the mind. I'm not saying that any of you do, but it is something to be mindful of. It's a slippery one as well. It will convince you that it's not shouting, it's not that part of the mind, the egoic mind, the id. Okay, so let's put all that together then. So we're going to do a turning. We're going to do a 45-degree turn to the right. But we'll go from heels together. So the Cheman Ching style Tai Chi form always starts with a bow. So it's a little bit of a bow. Not like your Japanese bow, just a bit of a kowtow. It's a way of connecting with your core muscles and connecting with the very center of the feet. And bring yourself back to head as if suspended from above. Then we have the 6 leg and arm movements here. So we sink, first leg, first arm movement. Turn to the right, hands face behind you, turn to the left. Let the foot push out to shoulder width. Touch the heel down, turn the waist to the right to turn the left toes in. Push over to the left foot, turn the waist to the left to turn the right toes in. Settle down in the center, raising the hands up. I tend to sink down here, then push the fingers up, drawing in, like pushing balloons or balls down into water. Settling down, sink left, turn left slightly, keep the weight on the left leg, turn right. 45-degree angle between the, or 90-degree angle between the feet. Push across, knee line with the toes, straight line from the ear towards, down through the center of the foot, turn to the left. Step straight forwards, maintain your feet shoulder apart. Push across, or turn the waist to the left to push across, push the left arm up. Right hand comes down, get the majority of the weight in the front left leg, turn the waist to your left to pivot on the heel of the right foot. Sinking down into the left. Turn to the right, turn on the toes, or the ball of the right foot, step out, maintain your feet shoulder apart. Turn the waist to the right, pushing across, the right hand travels up like a balloon, expanding. Sink into the right leg, turn on the heel of the left foot. Sink to the right, turn to the left, roll back, turn back, press, sit back, split, push forwards, and hold. 70% of the weight in the front right leg, 30% in the rear left leg, head's in the dead center. Square the hips up so you're facing towards what was our right. Make sure the bum's not sticking out, the lower back isn't curving in, nice and upright. Breathing into that ball in the belly. Feel the body settling down to this posture. Remember this posture. That's what we're doing, training the body to remember certain ways of moving and standing and being. Which we know life, modern living will twist, bend, shape our body into an unnatural, unhealthy way of being. Tai Chi and other systems are ways of bringing the body back into a better equilibrium, a better tensegrity. But it has to be worked, it has to be maintained, because life will continue to shift you out of shape. Modern living will continue to put you into an unnatural, unhealthy way of being, both physically and mentally, if you let it. So relax, 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 relax. And that's 9 o'clock. That's us done. So any questions about anything that we have done this morning? No? Ready for the day? Okay then. So go get this day and I'll be here next week for you. Well done. Get a drink of water. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay? Bye. Bye, bye, bye.